Hello, greetings. Can everyone hear me? Can everyone see me? Thanks for joining me today. It's been a while since I last stopped by. Against my will, but greetings. Hope you're all doing well. Back for the end, hopefully, of Chapter 3 in the house in FATA MORGANA. I see we have a new face today. If you're asking why you're getting Silent Hill vibes, I would say this game it's not horror exactly, but it has some horrifying parts to it. We are right in the middle of a huge domestic spat between the main characters in this story. And today I am hoping that we can get through the last half of... Just put my pen aside. The last half of... No. I'm sorry. Is it very dramatic reading? Feels kind of bad. But if you are wondering why it's like peak drama right away, that's the only explanation I can give you. It's that we are right in the thick of it. But if I can sum up what has happened so far, it's that since we're on the third door, we are meeting the third master of the house. So this is a gloomy, mysterious, spiritually cursed house. And so our man here, Jacopo, is the third master. He is not getting along with his wife. Interesting. Shall we get to it? How is the volume? Audio is good? Well, let's get into the drama right away, shall we? Jacopo, looking tormented.
Why? How did this happen? Why would she betray me? I wanted to give her a decently happy life. I didn't want to get violent with her. Yet, when I saw her face, when I heard what she had to say, I couldn't restrain myself. I guess what it comes down to is that, no matter how you dress it up, I'm still a Bezzati. There was never any way for this bloodline to give that girl happiness. God damn it. Why am I fretting over this nonsense? And I'm supposed to be the future head?
An illusion. But they're dancing. They really are. And they look like they're having a wonderful time. Are you sure it's an illusion and not something else? To me, it does not seem to be. I cannot see it. as anything but two tiny people dancing.
That's how it works. Reach out your hand and try to grab them. You won't be able to.
You're right. It's a shame.
I didn't think you actually would.
But it's the most precious thing. They look as though they're dancing atop my palm.
It's almost frightening how much innocence rests within those hands. It's as if they've been completely cut off from all the world's filth. My hands, however, are soaked in blood. I fear that bringing her into my world may taint her. Am I capable of protecting this woman's purity? And yet, as I watched her so joyously playing, I felt as though I'd gotten close to her. I was the one being a child that day.
Jacopo, it's me, Maria. Is it alright if I come in?
Maria. It's fine. Come in.
Alrighty. Color me surprised. I didn't think you'd let me in.
Have I ever denied you access to my room?
Nope, but you've been looking pretty glum lately.
I've never exactly been a cheery man.
True enough. I know you told me before not to talk about your wife, but I'm going to stick my nose where it doesn't belong today. There's been a lot of chatter among the maids lately about you getting rough with her. I mean, you've got the poor thing locked up in a shed outside. You're not leaving the best impression on anyone.
You here to box my ears?
I don't know, 50-50? The other half is, I'm concerned about you. I know you're not the kind of man to threaten someone without a good reason. You're not.
I thought you were friends with him.
I am. And it hurts, seeing her in so much pain.
And why has that not changed the way you act around me? I would think you'd be scorning me with the rest of the maids.
I see how it is. You don't trust me. And we've known each other for so long. This isn't a question of whose side I'm on. You're in pain too. I can see that. You've always bottled things up, kept them hidden. You're too proud to rely on others. But you should probably vent to someone before it reaches the point where you no longer can. Say, Jacopo, do you remember the promise we made a while back?
How far back?
Back when you were still shorter than me. You were 14 and I was 12. I had to leave town and you came to see me off. Quite frankly, I didn't think you'd come. I was surprised, even if I didn't show it. Jacopo. Where's your dad? Or are you here alone?
He didn't even tell me.
Oh.
There's no reason you have to leave town.
My old man says the Campanellas have more power. I should be the one leaving. It's not that simple. Grown-ups have a lot to consider. So don't give me that look, Jacopo. We were kids, but we'd both kind of started to catch on to the situation with our families and to the bonds that land held on us. Although we didn't know any of the details at the time. My grandpa owned all the land the city was built on, but he was a very conservative man. He didn't try to spread his influence, instead opting to fortify what he already had. I don't know when exactly it first started, but organizations were used to administrate cities. And when we were kids, my dad was the Capa Familia and my grandpa his... Oh my god, how do I say this? I need to grab Google Translate again. His consigliere? ごめん。マジでごめん。やべえ。But just because he was an advisor doesn't mean he was powerless. While my dad made the decisions, my grandpa was the only one allowed to fight him on them. Your father was a capodecina that served under my dad. He wasn't especially happy about that. But parents quarreling doesn't affect their kids, or at least that's what I thought at the time, and what you probably thought too. But there was still a chance we could be caught in the crossfire, so my dad decided to send me and my mum away. Off the island and to the north were some more prosperous areas. He thought that by sending us there we could live our lives clean, regardless of where we came from. There's no changing what's in your blood there. You could have told me too. Or were you planning on leaving without saying anything? No, it was just all decided so quickly. Why do you sound so accepting? Adults have a lot to consider. You bet they do, but you could at least let them know you're opposed to it, Maria. But no, your tail went straight between your legs as soon as you were told. You just gave up and accepted it straight away. I thought you were better than that. You think I don't know that? But I'll just be in my dad's way if I stay. I'm a kid, a girl. I wouldn't be of any help if something happened. And I don't want to need someone to protect me. I've never once thought of you as a girl. Hey now, that's mean. Oh jeez. Thanks, Jacopo. Now you're getting me all mushy too. If anyone should be sad here, it's me. I am not sad. Oh really? You're sure you're not actually torn that I won't be around anymore? You're a huge crybaby after all, Jacopino. Hey, when have I ever cried? Don't call me that. Made you mad. Short-fused as ever, I see. You've got to learn to keep your head. You're a man, and heir to the Bezzati family. Don't you lecture me. So pig-headed. You could at least listen to me this once, before I'm gone. Hey, Maria. Got a little time to spare? Yeah, sure, but not much. The carriage is gonna be here soon. Do you have enough for a trip to the hill and back? Yeah, I should have time for that. Because of our families, we weren't really able to get along with the other kids in the city, so we played a lot up at the top of that hill. Became kind of like our little secret lair. There was an abandoned house up there, I guess an old farmhouse or something. And kids love that sort of thing, you know? We called it Casa Nostra, our home, and we pretended it was actually ours. We drew circles on the wall in chalk and used it for target practice. We brought up a bale of straw and used it to make makeshift beds. When either of us got into fights with our parents, we'd stay the night here instead of home. In retrospect, I'm sure they knew where we were going and just let us do our thing. Oh yeah, there was this one time we were playing and a huge storm rolled in, trapping us up there. The wind wasn't just howling, it was screaming bloody murder. It was blowing so hard I thought the house might fly away. As I recall, you were crying that night. Hey, Nero, you here to see me off too? Ah, there you go, wagging your tail with that dumb look on your face. You have no idea what's going on, do you? It wasn't just the two of us that had made Casa Nostra our home base, though. There was one more, a stray black dog. I'm pretty sure it didn't actually have black fur, though it was just really, really dirty. Of course he doesn't. He's a stupid animal. Oh, don't talk about him like that. He's one of us. What were you planning to do about Nero? Just leave him behind? Nothing else I can do. Can't bring a dog in the carriage. Besides, you're here, so it'll be fine. You take care of Nero, all right? He doesn't like me. You're the only one who can take care of him. Maybe so, but I'm not coming back. He'll starve to death if you don't figure something out. He's a puny runt. I doubt he could win a fight for scraps. Come on, do it for me? You said you won't be coming back. Did you mean that? Are you absolutely never returning to this town? There's no telling what may or may not happen, so it's best not to get your hopes up. Better that than the pain of getting let down. Well, I've turned into quite the cynic, huh? Maybe if I'd been born into a more normal family, I'd be in my room in a pile of dolls right about now, my head in the clouds. I can't imagine you doing that, nor do I think that's normal. Well said. Hey, stop that, Nero. Quit licking me. The tickles. You reek. Maria. What is it? Come back. I don't care if you don't know when it'll be, but just don't say you'll never return. No one knows how things are gonna end up. Maybe my old man will gain more power, or maybe yours will. If things continue as they are, it'll be your old man. Then down the line, I'll work in the service of the Campanella family. And that's just fine by me. But even if that's not the future that lies ahead, I promise I'll make a place for you. So, Maria. Question. Do you have a... Whoops. Do you have a crush on me? What? Kidding. I'm just kidding. No need for a conniption fit. I was just playing around. Alright, I'm trying to have a serious conversation. Then you... Listen to me. I don't have any of those... those kinds of feelings for you. I consider you a lifelong friend. My one and only friend. That's why I came to see you often, and that's why I'm telling you this now. Whether you're a girl or a boy is irrelevant. Friendship lasts much longer than something so fanciful as romance. Am I wrong? Don't laugh, damn it, it's humiliating. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because I agree entirely. Yeah, we've always been on the same page, Jacopo. Maybe we did fight a lot, but there wasn't one we didn't get through. No one else understood just how lonely it was. Wearing a mask for all the other kids. Trying to fit into the happy little circle. We couldn't afford to be found out after all. Neither of us had any real allies. Except for each other, of course.
No.
I'm glad I got the chance to play with you. Sorry, just a moment. Greetings and hello. If you hadn't been there, I probably wouldn't have bothered caring for Nero either. It's too funny watching him chase you around.
You're a sick girl, Maria.
So hey, Jacopo. This place will still be Casa Nostra even after I leave, right? You won't do anything to it, will you?
Of course not. This is our home. That was always the plan.
Right. Thanks. Though, you know, you being all nice is kinda creepy, Jacopo. It's not gonna stop snowing, is it?
How rude. Well, you're gonna be like that. I'm not sure I want to give it to you.
Huh? Give what? A present? You should have said so sooner. Gimme.
You don't have a shred of tact, do you?
What's it matter? Come on. What'd you bring? Let me have it, soldier.
Maria. Consider this a temporary parting gift. You'd been wanting one of these for a while.
Oh, is that a cartridge? From a Colt Navy? Oh, no way! Did you swipe it?
Probably catch hell for it too.
Wow, this is amazing. I always wanted to get my hands on the real thing. This is from the one hanging up in your house, isn't it? The one your dad was bragging about. They just started selling them this year, and it's ridiculously hard to get your hands on one. Oh, so I hear? Man, guns from the New World is something else, alright. Just imagining the moment the hammer comes crashing down on the back of this sends chills down my spine.
You sure you're a girl going crazy over a bullet cartridge?
What's the big deal? I like what I like. You'll get in trouble if you don't put this back, though, won't you?
Don't worry. I'll return it when you return. And I won't tell anyone I gave it to you.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll take you up on that then. Thanks, Jacopo. It'll be my treasure.
This goes without saying, but don't you lose it. I'm giving it to you as a symbol of our friendship. No matter how far apart we may be, or how much time may pass, or how things play out with our families, we will always be friends. That cartridge symbolizes that promise.
It's a promise, Jacopo. Our families may outwardly hate each other, but I'll always be your friend. Always be on your side.
And don't you ever go back on those words.
I swear upon this glorious cartridge, this historic land, and the names of my ancestors, I shall not make myself a liar.
I trust you, Maria. We'll meet again. It may be many years from now, but that won't change a thing. Our friendship will never fade.
God, you were adorable back then. And short to boot. but now you've hardened so much. I was flabbergasted when I next saw you. Dressed all fancy from head to toe, and you'd become quite the smug little bastard, I thought. You sure weren't that little kid anymore.
You have quite the memory.
Well, yeah, I don't forget my promises. And I'd never forget I said I'd always be on your side. The question is, did you remember?
I did. I remember every word you said that day. And, as I said, I left Casa Nostra, as it was. Though it is quite some distance away now. I imagine if we went back and did a little work on it, we could have it looking just like old times.
And Nero?
About a year after you left, he suddenly disappeared. And, just for the record, I did take care of him, as he told me to. I'm guessing he got in a fight with another stray or something. I searched, but could never find him.
Oh well, it has been more than a decade. Not everything's gonna be exactly the same.
You, however, haven't changed a bit from the girl you were all those years ago.
Neither have you. Sure, you seem different on the outside, but at your core, I believe you haven't changed at all. Still the same old Jacopino.
Could you not call me that? I have changed quite a bit. Unlike you, and I'm well aware of it.
Say, Jacopo, do you consider me supportive?
Everything you could have said. Of course you are. You're constantly supporting me, past and present. You are proof of the existence of a kind of friendship that can transcend gender, blood, and any other such distinctions.
You know, it's honestly kind of bizarre seeing you without a stick up your ass.
Wow, harsh words.
Come on now, hear me out. You almost had me blushing there. Anyway, before you put that stick back up there, tell me something. Am I still your only ally?
You are.
Of everyone in this mansion, I'm the only one?
Yes. If she would at least have a little more.
The madam?
I didn't actually intend to treat her like that.
Believe me, Jacopo, I know. I mean, from a girl's perspective, what you did is pretty awful. But hey, I'm not a girl, according to you anyway. I will always be on your side, no matter what.
God, I feel as though I'm being consoled.
That was what I was going for.
I should have never opened up to you.
Hey, now's probably not the best time to bring this up, but I have a letter.
A letter?
Written by the madam. Here.
A letter? From my wife? Let me see it. What the hell am I reading?
I was considering keeping it a secret, but having seen it, I thought hiding it from you might only hurt you more, so I decided it was best to show you.
Who is this letter for? It's as if... That can't... I love you? Who's she writing to? I don't know this man.
Take a deep breath, Jacopo, and listen to me. The madam is having an affair. I haven't changed a bit. If you seriously believe that, then I've got news for you, pal. Anyone who acts exactly the same as they did in the past is doing just that. Acting. Much like I do around you. Our friendship will never change? What a freaking joke! You picked the wrong girl to put your trust in, and they call you astute. Can you taste the freaking irony? Well, that just makes things easier for me. But my god, it's suffocating playing the good girl. That stupidly cheerful little ray of sunshine, Maria. Ugh, it's sickening. On the other hand, the payoff is fantastic. I can't stop. God, watching him lose his cool was incredible. My sides hurt just thinking about it.
You're telling me she wrote this?
Who else could have written it? It's in her handwriting.
Why? Why must she continue to betray me? Has she not taken enough already? What else could she possibly want from me? I told her to stay away from my gatherings. I had the rose garden torn down. And yet still, she finds other men. I warned her, told her it wouldn't happen again. But if she betrayed me one more time, I'd kill her.
Jacopo.
Out of my way, Maria. I have to talk to her. Ask her what this letter's about. Who this man is. And depending on how she answers.
Hold it, Jacopo. Calm down.
Silence! How am I supposed to stay calm right now?
Listen to me. Relax. You try to talk to her right now and you aren't going to get anywhere. You're aware of just how frenzied you are, aren't you? Besides, you think she's going to tell you the truth even if you do manage to ask? Of course not. She may look all prim and proper, but that's not the real her. I don't think she's a bad person, but...
Not a bad person. The woman who wrote this letter to another man. Crossed the line, you hear me?
I agree with you there. She's gone too far with this letter. But remember, she's your wife and the daughter of a noble. You know exactly what will happen if you lose control of yourself and do something to her. It's not gonna look good for you.
She may be nobility, but I have the Koska. We have our own way of taking care of these kinds of problems.
Still, it's plain as day it'll only make a bigger mess. No one else knows about this yet.
Are you telling me to act like nothing's happening? When she so blatantly disrespects me?
Jacopo, could you let me take care of it? I'm friends with the madam. You know that. She'll listen to me. So, I'll make sure it gets through to her. Just how much you care about her.
I couldn't ask you. It would be disgraceful.
That's nothing to be ashamed of. What did I tell you? I'm on your side, and you're on mine. We're in this together. You can ask me things you couldn't ask others to do. I have tight lips. Anything you ask, I'll keep absolutely under wraps.
Damn it. You're right. Yes, you're right. I'm well aware that I always lose myself in her presence. If I try talking to her now, I probably will do something rash. Yes. I'll
make sure everything works out. Got it? You and the madam can go back to the way things used to be, so you don't have to suffer anymore. I'll take care of it. I am the only one who understands your pain. And I am the only one who can help you out of it.
Maria.
Oh, don't make that face, Jacopino.
Thank you, Maria. Please. Let her know that even if she is seeing other men, that even if she does silently mock me for not being of noble blood, that I still love her. That I don't want to raise my hand against her.
You love her? It's a riot? You're too busy chasing your stacks of paper. You don't have what it takes to truly love a woman. I will say, though, I'm surprised you lost your head that badly. Quite the little crush you've got on her. You could just sit down and talk to her like a rational human being and presto, all your problems would be solved. But you can't even manage that, which is why you're in this predicament. Once you're convinced of something, Jacopo, you never let go of it. And she's too timid to speak up for herself. Sorry, madam. I got nothing against you. I just didn't expect things to go quite this well. There's no stopping now, not when I've got this much momentum. Also, watching a pretty girl like you break down gives me goosebumps. You're still convinced I'm the only person you can trust. How did he react to the letter? Well, yeah, about that. Would he not take it? Oh, no, he took it. Just, don't feel too bad about this, madam. He said he's too busy with work, and tossed the letter aside. I told him to make sure he writes you a reply, but he hasn't gotten around to it at all. I see. That's a shame. It kills me to see you like this, madam. I don't get why he has to be so heartless. Not even taking a little bit of time out of his day to read the letter you poured your soul into writing. It's unacceptable. I'm sure he really is busy. He did not throw it away, though. Did he? I imagine he means to read it when he has more time. Madam, after everything he's done to you, you still think he means well? I have faith. My timing was poor, that's all. I believe in him. I believe that the day will come when he gives me his attention again, as he did before. Madam, so could I ask you to believe with me, Maria? To have faith that he will once more show me his love, and that mine will reach him. Something tells me that it will all work out if you pray for it. Yeah, Okay, if you're fine with me praying, I'll pray. I'll get down on my knees for you, madam. All of faith. Thank you. I would like to write another letter. When it is complete, could I ask you to deliver it to him? I'll give him as many as you want. As many as it takes for you to get through to him. You really ought to learn not to be so trusting, madam. Take a real close look, and you'll see exactly who it was that ground your happy little life into dust. Thank you, Maria. I'm the reincarnation of the Mother of God. Oh my god. I can't hold back the laughter. This is a stage of my own creation. We didn't have enough actors, so the playwright had to take on a role herself. But that only adds to the excitement. Yes, this is all my masterpiece. You're just ignorant puppets dancing to my tune. From the first shot to the last, blind to whose finger is sitting on the trigger. Listen to me, Jacopo, and try to keep your head. I saw the madam meeting with another man behind your back. You know the arch and the rose garden? The far side's out of sight from the mansion, making it a perfect place to hide. I saw her back there. From the looks of it, the madam is having her meetings with one of the men who comes to your business gatherings. And they don't act like they're just friends. But just to be clear, I don't have any solid proof. So it'd be best if you didn't mention this to her yet. You wouldn't want to start throwing around accusations only to find out too late it was all a big misunderstanding. I'll get to the bottom of it. So you... I think the madam might have her eyes on several men. Being a woman, you know, I can tell these things. She's giving me suggestive looks. But to whom, I can't pinpoint. A lot of people come in and out of this house after all. What? You want to keep her from leaving her room? That might be for the best. With so much going so well, it makes me think even God's on my side. They could just talk it over with one another. But they won't, and they're in deeper and deeper for it. You're the only one I can trust, Maria. And the timing that night, oh my god, was perfect. Hey, Jacopo. I could just be misreading her, but something seems off about the madam. Like she's been on edge or something. I tried to egg her into revealing what's going on, and she let slip that she might be going out somewhere tonight. She's not going with you, is she? You were going out to survey a construction site today, right? Then I'd suggest you get that taken care of quickly. A dance? At this time of night? Yep, and since it's so late, no loud music. All you get is a little whistling courtesy of me. But this room is too small. We'll use the Great Hall. Wouldn't that put us in everyone else's way? He would probably complain about the noise, too. No need to worry. Jacob was out inspecting some factory or something tonight. After that, he's got a meeting, so he'll be staying the night elsewhere. I thought you would not be back until tomorrow.
And how would you know that? No, forget that. Does my staying the night elsewhere have any effect on you? You were just waiting for this opportunity, weren't you?
No. What would I possibly want you out of the house for?
I'm sure you know better than anyone. What is that smell? Perfume? When did you get perfume? And I have to say, you seem to be having quite the time. Look at you. You're out of breath. Red as a beet. I made the right decision coming back. Where the hell were you going?
I'm sorry. This is all my fault. If I hadn't asked you to dance. And me bringing the perfume only made things worse. You need not feel bad about anything, Maria. Everything you did was with my best interests at heart. She doesn't even suspect me in the slightest. And I was able to put that perfume to great use. That money-sucking leech Tommaso showed up at the perfect time, too. I'm pretty sure that's when Jacopo started getting actively violent. A jealous man is a wonderful thing, always imagining the worst and making matters worse for it. Wow, is that you, Tommaso? It's been so long. What brings you here?
Oh, looky at who it is, little Miss Campanella. There's a surprise. Didn't expect to see you this side of the Great Blue.
Oh, you know, I've been giving Jacopo a hand.
Oh. Well, color me impressed. After what happened, I wouldn't have thought you'd want nothing to do with him.
That was between our parents. Jacopo didn't have anything to do with it.
Well, would sure be nice for all you younger generation to go through life without nothing to spark that kind of powder keg. Not that it's my place to talk.
No need to worry yourself about anything that. So, what brings you here, Tommaso?
I'm a little, you know how it is. Having a bit of trouble staying afloat.
I see. So you're here to beg for offerings? Pretty shameless, Tommaso.
No point in having shame if it ain't making money. Toss that out with the chamber pot. Hell, might make things easier if I just quit being human altogether.
Are you that hard for cash?
Unfortunately, numbers supposed to go up, but for some reason they end up going down instead.
Might be best if you kick the gambling habit.
No, that's like telling me to go off myself.
I bet. So say, Tommaso, maybe I could pitch in a bit too?
You mean it? That'd be a huge help.
There's seriously not a scrap of shame in you. However, in exchange, I'd like you to do something for me.
Someone whose face needs a visit from my fists. Depending on the number, I could also probably cut him into chunks and toss him into the ocean.
Whoa, keep it clean. I'm not asking you to do anything like that.
What is it then? Something a lowlife like me can do?
It'll be easy. And it's nothing bad either. You're gonna go talk to Jacopo, aren't you? Well, there's something I'd like you to tell him while you're at it. You know he's married, right? He can get pretty nasty with his wife, though.
That's so? Sounds like she's got it rough.
She does. And she's religiously devoted to him, too. I've been trying to nudge things in the right direction to get her back on good terms with him, but I haven't had much luck.
Ain't that something the two of them should work through?
Normally, yes. But it's reached the point where I can't bear to sit back and watch anymore. I don't like seeing the two of them in pain. I want to do something for them.
Oh, noble. You're pretty devoted yourself, little lady.
I'm not important right now. Just doing the right thing. But the thing is, Jacopo won't hear a word of it. I figured maybe you, being a man, might be able to get through to him a little better than me.
Daddy'll listen to me either, to be honest.
Come on. You used to be really close, though. And I doubt he hates you.
I wouldn't be so sure about that. Anywho, talking something anyone can do. So what do you want me to tell him?
I need you to give him a bit of a scolding. Tell him the madam came to you asking for advice, and that she accidentally let slip that the way he treats her day to day causes her grief.
I've never met this wife of his before, you know?
It works even better that way. She's so downtrodden she can't talk to anyone about it, so she thought that maybe you, being family, might be able to help. She has never met you, but she still latched onto a ray of hope. And I'm sure when Jacopo finds out she brought it up with family, he'll know you can't keep mistreating her. Things like this, they hit home harder when they come from someone on the outside.
You make a decent point. Just remember, little lady, all I can do is bring it up with him. Can't guarantee it'll change nothing.
That's all I need you to do. Thanks a bunch, Tommaso. Right, one more thing. This is some perfume that's grown quite popular recently. Ask him to give it to the madam as a gift. If he won't take it, you keep it. Give it to another woman, sell it, whatever you want.
Perfume? Very thoughtful of you. Women do like getting gifts like that.
Yes, we do. If Big Bad Jacopo gives her some of that, they'll be lovebirds again before you know it. I'm sure of it.
Never thought the day'd come when I got to play Cupid. No, I'm starting to get kind of excited about this.
Stay focused, Tommaso. And thanks. Also, you didn't hear any of this from me. I'm fine just pulling the strings from the shadows.
Their relationship's in complete shambles. And Jacopo still insists he freaking loves her. And the madam says she still believes in him. Seriously, how stupid can you be? Poor Jacopo. Poor madam. Now then. Let's see where this boulder rolls to next. Round of how far it keeps... Sorry. and how far it keeps rolling. Naturally, I will be nudging it along its way. Because after all, a play lives or dies by the director's hands.
Master, are you shocked? Or do you instead lament this development? I was deeply sorrowful, though to a lesser degree about Maria's true intentions, and more my shameful inability to recognize her machinations. At the time, I too believed that Maria was the white-haired girl's one and only ally. It was not until everything had drawn to a close that I discovered the truth. Then I now know how the tale ends, you say? Yes, that is correct. Well aware that was not the case, I told you the story in a way that suggested she was on the white-haired girl's side. Oh my. I wonder if that constitutes lying to you, Master. I merely wanted to present the events to you in order, starting from the beginning, when Maria's ill intentions were still veiled in shadow. I wanted you to know the same feeling of consternation I had experienced. The white-haired girl continued to write letter after letter. They were all addressed to her dear husband, detailing her ever-persistent love for him, and her desire for their relationship to return to what it had once been. My beloved, I am sure your hands are quite full right now. But that is fine. It does not change my love for you. Do you remember the day we went out together? That was perhaps the most wonderful day of my life. I had a truly incredible time. I still treasure the gift you gave to me, for it is the one and only present I have received from you. That reminds me, Maria tried to teach me how to dance. I doubt I will ever progress beyond being laughably bad, though. It would be nice if someday you and I could dance together. Perhaps when you have a little respite from work, we could go out again. Maybe take a carriage somewhere a little farther away. And we could dine at a restaurant more to your liking. Although I think the cuisine at the other restaurant was exquisite, personally. Do I, perhaps, have an unrefined palate? Maria altered the letters before delivering them, however. She changed the addressee from Jacopo to another man. She would cut away the top of the page with Jacopo's name on it, and in the space below write a different name. She could not have mimicked the white-haired girl's handwriting for the full length of a letter, but Maria could make a single name look adequately similar. And it would, after all, be quite difficult to notice minor discrepancies in such a small quantity of text.
Again, another letter. Why does she keep writing these?
To Jacopo's eyes, the modified letters looked like professions of love for another man. The more she inscribed of her feelings for Jacopo, the greater the turmoil grew within his heart. Even though her love was directed toward him.
I can't believe what I'm reading. A restaurant more to your liking? I knew it. You have been going with other men, all the while pretending to be chaste in my presence. I still treasure the gift you gave to me. God's sake. Have to be kidding. But I've ensured she can't leave that room. She'll never see this man again. Time she'll let go, and so will he. Listen to me. Resigning myself to the hope that everything will fix itself. How did I end up like this? Such a pitiful man I've become.
On the surface, Maria acted quite heartbroken at the sight of their suffering. But when she returned to her room, the walls echoed with her cackles. She derived a great deal of entertainment from their squirming. The more they writhed in anguish, the deeper her satisfaction grew. And both the white-haired girl and Jacopo continued to place their confidence in Maria, the one responsible for everything. The white-haired girl had never possessed a sense of distrust, and so she took everything Maria said as truth, continuing, in her agony, to write Jacopo letters. Letter after letter after letter. My beloved, are you still tied up with your work? It has been some time since we last saw one another, so I know not what you have been doing of late. I only hope you remain in good health. I would, if possible, prefer to tell you everything in person, but I do not have the courage, so these letters are my only option. Am I adequately expressing my feelings? My love for you? If you have the time, I would appreciate a response.
You're never going to get a response, though. Not as long as I am intercepting them. There's no way I'm allowing these, or your love, to get to him. I could just stop reading them. It would certainly make things easier. But if I don't, my imagination will run wild, fantasizing about her writing to this other man and what she might be putting in her correspondence. I'd be better off knowing the truth than torturing myself with fantasy. It's the better option.
Jacopo accepted every letter Maria delivered without fail. He would merely nod as he accepted it, his face contorted in discomfort, and then pore over the text when he was alone. I assume he did not want her to see his heart sinking into darkness. Had he put his trust in his wife rather than Maria, he would have almost certainly been able to realize the letters were directed at him, despite the altered recipient name. Everything she wrote about concerned him after all. How could someone who lived as isolated a life as her have so many identical experiences with two distinct men? Why could he not find it in himself to trust her? Perhaps doubting her was simply easier. If you were in his position, would you trust her? Would you maintain faith in her, the woman who had waited so long? Would you believe the feelings she professed for you were genuine? She continued writing letters, day after day, week after week, without hiatus. She had, by and large, run out of things to say, but that did not put an end to her letter writing. She simply repeated what she had written before. Nevertheless, they did not see one another in person. The white-haired girl, forbidden from leaving her shed, could only wait for her husband to pay her a visit. My beloved, there is a little bit of fog out today. Weather like this reminds me of my home country. I was born on an island, perpetually covered in a thick fog. I'm not saying I'd like to return, but thinking about it does make me feel rather homesick. Does that happen to you? That reminds me, apart from that one time, you have not told me much of your homeland. It would be nice if we could pay it a visit together sometime. Speaking of which, before I left, an exhibition of some sort was held there. I was unable to attend, but perhaps you had the chance when it was near you. I imagine you would have, with your interest in new technology. Next time you have a chance, I would enjoy hearing what they had on display.
An exhibition. Oh, that's right. There was one. It was a year ago. Got quite a bit of attention, since it was supposed to have been held in Paris. I was busy, preparing for our wedding. I had no time to attend an exhibition. And while I was doing that, giving you, a woman I'd never met before, my full attention, you were giving yours to a different man. Has this been going on for that long?
Had he simply stepped up and taken action, he could have put an end to the stream of letters, each of which gave rise to further misunderstanding. He needed merely ask the white-haired girl in person to whom the letters were addressed, whether what they described were true, and the twisted threads of his confusion would have all been unraveled. But he made no such effort, relying instead on Maria to serve as his intermediary. I feel as though I have now at long last come to understand just what kind of man Jacopo was. While he had a great deal of pride in his capabilities, he had far less confidence in himself as a person. If he had had faith in himself, perhaps he could have put faith in his wife as well. Had his pride not been so twisted, perhaps he would not have been so afraid of being hurt. Indeed, he was afraid of being rejected by her, afraid to face a reality where his beloved partner scorned him, where the woman he loved laughed at him disdainfully, where she and countless others mocked him. The thought of it paralyzed him. The environment in which he had been raised played a significant part in his state of mind, I expect. Occasionally, the name on the letter would change. Maria was making the white-haired girl out to be having affairs with multiple other men. She could never do such thing, of course. But Jacopo, thinking Maria to be his only ally, believed everything she said.
If I could figure out who this man is and where he resides, I could make him tell me every last detail about his relations with my wife. But what if that information went public as a result? If news of her infidelity spread and were to reach the Cosca? The fate of the Bezzatis is in your hands, son. There's a limit to what we can accomplish on this tiny island. If we don't turn our attention outwards, we will wither away and die. And not just this family. This whole land will find itself famished and emaciated, defenseless against invasion as we waste away. I won't stand by and watch my homeland crumble. Sure, our methods may be crude and not always worthy of praise, but they produce undeniable results. The unfortunate thing is, the previous Capo Familia was an incredibly reticent man. It took all he had to merely preserve his small chunk of the world. But I'm not like that. Neither are you. The most I can do is lay the foundation to make it easier for you to work, which means everything rests on your shoulders. Both the future of the Bezzati family and the future of this country. It all falls on you. The marriage is happening too quickly. It'd be madness not to hurry, given the circumstances. We should be well aware of that. We need the Bezzati name climbing the social ladder in short order, or we're going to have everything ripped out from under us. If the woman isn't to your liking, you can find another, that is. She's only going to be your wife in name. But listen to me, son. You must not allow her to fool around. What are the most vital things to have in our society? Money, power. Yes, those are important. But what matters most is respect. No one's going to follow a Capo Familia they can't respect. They'll try to undermine your authority. Once someone deems you weaker than them, courtesy goes out the window, and it's a judgment that's near impossible to overturn. Betrayal spreads like a fire through a forest. And once that flame is lit, the both of us come crashing down. You must not let anyone look down on you. You must not let anyone think you're the kind of man a woman can walk all over. If by any chance your fiancée is ever unfaithful to you, kill her before anyone finds out. Your place is above others. Climb to the top. Never be content with someone above you. And never forget the weight you carry on your shoulders. This is your responsibility. I must keep intercepting her letters. I must keep her locked up. I still have work to do. I cannot allow anyone to learn about how she's disgraced me. Kill her. That's how my old man says to handle it. That's the last resort. It's not. Not yet. God damn it. It's downright wrong for me to even be having these feelings for someone.
Yahweh. Master, your carriage is waiting outside. How are you coming along?
Coming along? Oh, that's right. I had an inspection scheduled today. I'll be right out. Have him wait.
Is something the matter, Master? You look a little hazy.
I'm fine.
If you're not feeling well, you should stay.
I said I'm fine. It's not your job to try and infer my condition.
Yes, sir.
Damn it. Keep it under wraps. Act like normal. You can at least do that much, damn you.
Take care on your trip, Master.
Yeah. It's not the usual coachman. I also feel like I've seen him somewhere. Your fault. What? Hey, speak up.
Yabai. Die, Jacopo, die. Die, Jacopo, die. Uh-oh. Master! What? This is a knife in your stomach. Oh God! Someone! Anyone!
Silence! Don't make a scene. Call a doctor.
You... Yes, sir.
Now I remember where I've seen him before. That's right. I put his factory out of business. I needed it out of the picture to expand my own business. I guess he held a grudge about that. I should have been more careful. Blood flows with surprising abundance from a stab wound. It's not stopping either. Son of... The world is going wide. Come on now. You have to get it.
I'm sorry, that line has to be a scream booth kind of line. I know very well. what kind of man you are. You wouldn't hesitate to lead a blind man off a cliff if it furthered your... was it? If it furthered your own goals. You make money off others' lives. You stand upon a mountain of corpses, cackling at everyone below you. For a man like you, love comes as naturally as flying. Guess what? You don't have any emotions. And you never have. You've always been this way. My childhood was day after day of mockery. You're just a bunch of nobodies trying to pretend your name means anything, they would say, sneering and glaring. Maria treated me as an equal, but she was the only one. I wanted to show them up. And to do that, I had to rise to the top. Or at least, high enough that I could laugh at them. So. We'll go low, shall we? Thank you, I had water.
My old man wasn't the only one who wanted that. I did too. I had to make that knowledge, that I had value as a man. Who actually wants to go through life being laughed at? I had to make them recognize that what I did had value, and I needed neither love nor compassion to do it. Well, that's what I thought. In the beginning, I only ever intended to use that woman. I simply needed her to build a name for myself. When she served her purpose, I could simply cast her aside. That's what I thought. Or rather, that's what I endeavored to make myself think. But deep down, I felt bad for her. I pitied this woman who was being made to marry a man she had never even met before. I'm sure what she really wanted was to have a regular marriage with someone she loved. But because her family wanted to cling to their name, she wasn't afforded that opportunity. I wanted to do something for her. It didn't have to be anything grand. I genuinely wanted that. The day of our wedding was when I first saw her. Her face, partially obscured behind the veil, was gorgeous. And crucially, she was smiling at me. I had expected to find only gloom and despondency in her eyes, but instead she smiled. The moment I saw that smile, I wanted it to be a permanent part of my life. I truly did want to ensure she always had a smile on her face. This is my room. I'm alive. Damn it. I feel nauseous. What time is it? The world's a blur. So hot.
You mustn't get up. The doctor said bacteria entered your body through the wound. Because of that, you have a very high fever.
What are you doing here?
I was told you had been badly wounded, but thankfully, it was not fatal.
How did you make it out of...
Pardon?
Oh, Maria opened it.
Would you like some medicine to reduce the fever? It should help you feel better.
Yes. No.
Mm-hmm.
Stay by my side for a little longer.
Is there anything I can do for you? You can ask me anything.
My hand.
Your hand?
Could you hold my hand? If you don't want to, it's fine.
Like this?
Your hand is quite cold.
It probably feels that way because of your fever.
So,
Yes?
I've done some regrettable things to you. Please forgive me. To tell you the truth, from the moment I first saw you, I felt like you were what I had been searching for my whole life. Laugh if you'd like. I felt like I had finally found you. But I couldn't act around you the way I honestly felt.
You should get some sleep.
Could you keep holding my hand until I fall asleep? If you don't want to, that's fine.
My hand is in yours.
Thank you.
You appear to be quite delirious, Master. Those are things you should be telling your wife, not me.
It was all a dream. Of course it was. Wouldn't be that easy. And she would never come to my room. She's involved with other men.
Jacopo, may I come in? I have another letter. The white-haired girl's persistent letters did not improve anything, but simply stoked the flames of misunderstanding. This continued for several months. Though outside, the sun shone with the gentle warmth of spring, the cold, bitter winds of winter still relentlessly blew between Jacopo and his wife. Not allowed to leave her shed, and never receiving a reply to her letters. The white-haired girl's only source of information was Maria. Week after week, her circumstances remained the same. But something else was beginning to show signs of change. Her mental state. It's pointless, madam. You're only wasting your time at this point. I saw him throw your letter into the fireplace. Sorry? He's not going to read anything you write, no matter how much of your soul you pour into it. He cares more about money and work than love. That's the kind of man he is. Just give up and file for divorce already. No. I will get through to him. Everything will go back to normal. I have faith. All my letters may go up in flames, but my faith will not be lost with them. As long as I keep writing, eventually, I will get through to him, so I cannot stop. I cannot. Do you have any idea what he says about you, madam? Jacopo doesn't trust you in the slightest. He goes around calling you a witch. A man-eating devil woman. It's awful. There's no one as pure and as beautiful as you. He says, I am a witch. Listen to me, madam. He never for a second actually loved you. He just wanted the influence attached to your name. Wanted to mingle with the upper class. He used you. But last year, when we went out together, he gave me the Fennicus wheel at the photography shop. He had the owner make it especially for me. He was just trying to win your favor. If he really cared for you, he wouldn't have gotten you a paper toy. He would have gotten you something like a ring, or a necklace, or some perfume, a nice dress. Something women really like. Has he ever given you anything like that? He doesn't have any feelings for me. I'm sorry. I couldn't stand to see you going through this, but I don't know when to shut my fat trap. I went too far. The last thing I need to be doing is hurting you worse. You know, for everything I've said, your unwavering dedication is really impressive, madam. I know I've suggested you get a divorce, but to be honest, part of me kinda doesn't actually want you to split up. Despite knowing you staying with him is just causing you pain. You've made it this far. I'd like to see you make it all the way. Maybe he actually will start paying attention. Your sweetness can melt even his heart of steel. Yes. Yes. You're right. I will keep waiting. Keep writing. And I will not divorce him. Yeah. All right. So, please, keep delivering my letters to him. You are my only remaining connection to the outside world. Oh, yes. One more thing. If it is not too much trouble, could you tell me how he has been, and what he has been doing lately? I do not have much else to write about, so if I could at least relieve him of some of his work-related stress. I am his wife, after all. I should be able to do that much for him. I am his wife. Her dedication to him was perhaps closer to an obsession, but she did not seem to be conscientious of the fact that her obsession was killing her. She was visibly losing weight, and her spirit was breaking down. It is said that emotions fade with time, but the opposite can also be true. The act of waiting, of fervently believing for so many months, despite the object of one's affections not returning them, can tear apart a person's heart, crush their soul, shatter their spirit. No matter how radiant, how thick-skinned they may be. With enough time, it will wear anyone down. No one is immune. It's pointless, Jacopo. Wait all you want, you won't get her back. If she's going to be writing letters, she could at least write one for you. She looks so pure, pretty as an angel. But God Almighty, is it only how she looks? You've changed a bit.
What? Have I?
The old you would be yelling and screaming, chomping at the bit to go storming in on the madam. Now you just go quiet.
I'm just a little tired.
You could break it off then?
What?
You've already made a name for yourself in high society. Nobody's gonna suddenly start ignoring you. You've more than put a family name to good use. To put it in your own words, it's no longer necessary. This isn't something I really want to say, but the madam has never liked you. She was married off to a total stranger, forced to leave her home. I'm sure she felt very alone, and so she sought the companionship of other men. Anyone who wasn't you probably seemed quite attractive to her. So, without getting violent or threatening to kill her or anything, just end it already. Quietly, and without a fuss. It'll be easier for you that way.
I cannot.
Because you still love her? That's wonderful, Jacopo. After everything, you still love her. It's just blind, slavish devotion at this point.
Perhaps it is a foolish, unhealthy obsession. But I still do not wish to sever ties with her. I cannot get the image of her smile out of my head. The look of utter elation on her face as she looked through the phenakistoscope. Those captivating eyes beneath the veil at our wedding. I will never, for as long as I live, forget those sights.
Color me surprised. You're a sentimental one. Well, I guess you always have been kind of mushy, haven't you? True to your heart, despite how you may look. It's not a bad thing, though, in my book. There's nothing but pain in it for you now. But all you can do is wait until she stops writing. But don't worry. If you need to let off some steam, I'm all ears. I'll be here for you until she breaks it off with the other men.
No, that will not be necessary.
What?
I know very well that things cannot continue on as they are forever. I knew it from the beginning, and still couldn't do anything. This time, I'm planning on facing her myself.
You serious, Jacopo?
Yes. I've relied on you for too long. I was afraid of what I might do to her. I didn't want anyone to find out that my wife was being unfaithful, and I thought the best way to ensure that was by locking her up away from anyone else. But the situation is not going to improve unless I do something. If I allow things to continue as they are, sooner or later, word of her infidelity will leak. So before that happens, I must face her myself. I must do something.
It's probably best if you didn't. I'll tell her anything you want. Make sure things start improving.
I appreciate everything you've done, and I apologize for getting you involved in our troubles. But I'm going to end it now. No, I must put an end to it. This is a problem between me and her.
You might get violent again if you go see her face to face.
Yes, I might. I might do something that would look rather bad for me. But it's reached a point where until the two of us face up to each other, it's never going to go away. It took me far too long. I wasted too much time trying to find my resolve.
I see. You'll need a way to break the ice then.
Break the ice?
Right. If you've got some convenient excuse to talk to her, it'll reduce some tension and make it easier to bring up what you need to bring up, right? Here's an idea. That transcontinental railroad you've been funding. That's supposed to be opening up pretty soon, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
There'll be a message by telegraph when it happens, right? You can ask her to be there to hear it. And then you can invite her to ride the first train. You've put your heart and soul into this project, and it's finally being realized. It's going to be an amazing day for you, and a day like that's ripe for more good things to happen. It's going to be the accomplishment of a lifetime. Don't look so down in the dumps. We're sending trains across this massive continent, carrying on them the people of this country's dreams. Who says you can't stick a dream of your own in it too?
Right. Yes, you have a point. A railroad that spans from coast to coast. She is a sickly girl, which makes long trips difficult. But this new rail system should make them much less straining. It would allow me to show her the world.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm getting excited myself. It'll go great. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Oh, God, my sides. Seriously, they're a goddamn riot, the both of them. They keep on trusting me and keep on getting hurt. They don't have to be going through any of this. Oh my God, Maria, you're terrible. And these people call me the Holy Mother. I bet the real Mary is rolling in her freaking grave. Now, I must say I wasn't expecting you to make a move, Jacopo. Shame that squirming loser paralyzed by insecurity is a better role for you. If they do end up figuring it out, then tough. Doesn't hurt anything, just takes away a bit of my fun. I don't understand why you're so infatuated with this railroad. I mean, I do sort of get romanticizing steel, but my kind of steel is a little smaller scale. Anyway, suppose it's about time to get things moving. No matter how this plays out, you will not have a happy ending, Jacopo. You're going to get a real taste of just how much I despise you. Maria! Maria! Oh, there you are! What is it? I'm on break right now. You were assigned to clean the cellar today, weren't you? Well, head maid saying it hasn't been done yet. What? I did it. I cleaned it. Just a casual once over, but hey. Well, do it again. And do it right this time. Because if you don't, it's gonna fall on me. I'm supposed to make me give a damn? I mean it. You take care of it. You get enough special treatment as it is. Yeah, right. I heard you the first time. I'll take care of it. And don't you forget it. For God's sake. Why should I have to be the one to tell her? Is she gone? Ugh, what a pain. Who cares if the damn cellar is clean? Not like anyone's bringing guests down there. Eesh. I guess I should take care of it. Better that than a tongue lashing by the head maid. God. Why did I have to be a maid anyway? What a dank place. Ugh, it's so dark and humid down here. Makes me feel gross. Someone there? Hello? Hello? Is anyone in there? Oh, it came from farther in. It's seriously dusty back here. Who was supposed to clean this last week? We'll clean the whole thing next time, damn it. Just makes my job harder. Disgusting. Ugh, damn cobwebs. Oh my god. Oh god. I do not want to clean this. Ow. For God's sake, stack the stuff properly. Now I've got to fix this whole mess. For the love of... What's this? Something carved into the floor. Never noticed this before. Someone get bored one day? What do we have here? It's mostly legible. Let's see. It's not written in English, but my native language. But it's not modern, it's really archaic. Why on earth would an old form of my country's language be carved into the floor of a mansion built here in the New World? Most of it's illegible, but I can make out one section. Our lives shall be forfeit to the witch's curse. Nevertheless, we must lay bare those with sin upon their souls for the redemption of those whom are pure. Should ye mean not to dispel your curse, we implore of you, O witch, to mark it with only their bloodlines. The blood of the sinners flows through those who dwelt within this house, but not I. What in the... A witch? That's crazy. That's crazy. But why does the handwriting look like mine? It's just coincidentally similar. And no one's handwriting is perfectly unique after all. Why am I so sweaty? It's not that hot down here. Nope, forget it, didn't see a thing. Not a chance it's real, it's just a tasteless prank. This is silly. nothing in this box. Is that a painting? Has that always been here? Huh? White hair. Fair skin. Is this the madam? But then, why is the face all torn up? And her clothes look really old-fashioned. The painting seems worn and faded too. Something about it feels off. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's very creepy, unsettling. The writing on the floor, and this painting. What is with this house? It's just a painting. Nothing to get weirded out over. I bet I know what happened. Jacopo probably slashed it up in a fit of jealousy. He is a simple man. Seeing this probably wouldn't put him in the best mood. What was that? Is someone there? The door is open. Nobody's there. What's this? A painting? Who could have left it here? Is that me? Why? But my face, it's been cut. No! Why would someone have this painted? Just to do this? Who would do such a thing? You're like a witch, my dear. Like a demon. Your very presence brings misfortune upon others. You're cursed. No, I am not. I am not. Was it you, Jacopo? Did you have this painted so you could destroy it? Do you really despise me to that extent? Why? Why do you... What did I ever do to make you hate me so? Why? Why? All I'm doing is waiting for you.
Worthless trap. Are those ears only for show? This house has no need for a garden. I always thought you had at least some sense of taste. Silence. It's all your fault. Every last thing. Then say goodbye to your freedom. I'll kill you.
Does the mere act of waiting impose upon you? Does my mere presence pervert you. Would it be better if I were gone? Would it be better if I left this mansion? If I left you? I don't think I can wait much longer. There's no end in sight. I can't take it any. There is no end. No. I will set a deadline for when I give up waiting. When the project you pour your heart and soul into is complete. When the railroad opens, I will be finished waiting. And then it's over. The Pacific Railroad's last spike ceremony was drawing nearer by the day. That day was, coincidentally, the deadline the two of them had set for themselves. Jacopo to confront his wife, and the white-haired girl to wait for him. And as that day approached, she continued to write letters. She wrote the letters purely by force of habit, despite having been worn visibly thin. I expect that she could not stop, that the act of writing was all that kept her from going mad. By focusing her attention on another person through her letters, she was able to maintain her grip on herself. But that day would put an end to her suffering and despair. When the railroad was completed, all their misunderstandings would be cleared up. They would return to the smiling, happy couple they had been when they first married. The harsh winter would finally come to a close, melting away into the past and allowing them to step into the future. With constant prayer in my heart, I impatiently awaited the railroad's opening ceremony. I do not, after all, wish for anyone to fall into any kind of misfortune. And that goes for you as well, Master. Now, Master, the door is soon to be shut upon this era. Are you prepared to see what happens next? I see. Very well. Then allow us to make our way to that final day. See with your own eyes, Master, how this tale concludes. And please, do not let go of my hand. The night before the opening ceremony, the master of the house headed for his wife's shed. There was a tension on his face, but a surety in his step. He had found the resolve to speak with her. Having locked her away for so long in the shed like a common prisoner, Jacopo was hardly optimistic about what she might say to him. He had undeniably mistreated her, said heartless and cruel things to her, and even gotten physically violent with her. His actions were inexcusable, even if they were in response to her infidelity. Of course, the very infidelity which had driven him to such behavior had not in fact taken place, but he was unaware of that. There was a chance they would never reconcile their misunderstandings, and that this predicament would not have a positive resolution. But he still clung to a tiny fragment of hope. He wanted to start over with the white-haired girl, to make a new future with her. With that desire burning strong in his heart, he stood before the door to her shed and called out to her.
Are you awake? It's me, Jacopo. May I come in? I won't hurt you. I will not raise my hand against you again. I swear to you, I will do you no harm. I just wish to speak. I would like to have a calm, rational conversation. And as such, I will not enter your room until you have given me your permission. So, may I please come in? You won't even give me a response. All right. Considering how you must feel about me, I shouldn't be surprised. Fine. Then you don't have to let me in. But please at least hear me out. Do you remember the day shortly after we first met, when we went on our honeymoon? If you can even call the little walk we took a honeymoon. I was unable to do anything nice for you then either. I had no experience, no idea how to interact with an upper-class woman like you. I didn't know what I should do for you. And yes, I know that makes me sound juvenile. I have a tendency to say things I don't mean the more perturbed I get. I'm sure I said things to hurt you numerous times that day. However, at the photography shop, when you saw the phenakistoscope, you smiled for me. I was genuinely pleased in that moment. I felt like I had gotten closer to you. I very much doubt that was actually an appropriate present for a noble woman like yourself. Jewels or flowers or something like that, something beautiful, would have certainly suited you better. And I knew that, but I assumed you would have been given gifts like that countless times in the past. You are, after all, a beautiful woman. I did not want to have to compete on the same field as those other men. I wanted to be special. No, I wanted to be unique to you. No one had ever shown you anything of the sort before, had they? Frankly, I wasn't sure if a woman of your status would take any interest in a phenakistoscope at all. I imagine you've thrown it out by now, but I choose to believe you sincerely liked it on that day. That, if just for a moment, I caught your eye, even if you started seeing other men afterwards. That moment was real, wasn't it? Our marriage was, at its core, nothing but an arrangement between our parents, an exchange of money and influence. That was how it began. But that day, I loved you. I yearned to see you smile, as if I had loved you my entire life. The Pacific Railroad has finally been completed. That's the project I've been funding. Everyone thought it was crazy, but a railroad now stretches across the breadth of this country. A joining ceremony will be held tomorrow. It's going to be a grand event. Locally, they're planning on doing a gun salute. And the sound of the last spike being driven into the ground will be transmitted across the country via telegraph. I have procured a telegraph so we can listen to it here, in the mansion. In your condition, you would probably have trouble handling the crowds at the telegraph station. But here, you could celebrate in the comfort of your own home. I suppose what I'm saying is, I want to celebrate this with you. I have made arrangements to make that possible for you, because I wish to have you there with me. Would you be willing, tomorrow, to celebrate the completion of the Pacific Railroad with me? Would you be there at my side? Please. Say something. I want to start over. I know very well what I've done to you. You may be at fault yourself, but what I did is unacceptable. But what I did was a consequence of my overpowering love for you. I swear it. Why? Why will you not answer me? Say something. Anything. Please. Please. You can hear me in there, can't you? If you don't want to, you can just say no. If you do reject me, I'll set you free. It won't hurt you, I promise. The door is not locked. Who opened it? Hello?
A humid spring breeze brushed against his cheeks. The drawn lace curtains appeared to glow in the gentle moonlight. The white-haired girl was not in her room.
Where have you gone?
Stupefied, he glanced about his wife's chambers. To my eyes, the neatly organized room appeared no different than any other day. But to his eyes, it was pale and hollow. For the one who was supposed to be there, who was supposed to be waiting for him, was not present. He could not hear her voice from anywhere in the shed. In its place echoed a dry rustling, a sad, pitiful, empty whisper of a noise. It came from the lone object left abandoned atop her desk.
The phenakistoscope.
It was the one present Jacopo had ever given the white-haired girl, a toy made of paper. When spun and viewed in a mirror, it created the illusion of a man and woman dancing.
You still had this? It's ridiculous. I assumed you'd thrown it out.
The white-haired girl had evidently made considerable use of the phenakistoscope. The paper was visibly worn and tattered, warped in places, and had even begun to yellow. It spun slowly in the wind, rustling and rustling and rustling, spinning in an endless reminder of that day the year before, though there was no longer anyone around to look through it.
Why? But you were with other men. Why would you keep something I gave you? It's so worn. Why? A letter.
Beneath the ever-rotating phenakistoscope lay a single sheet of paper. As if drawn to it, he scanned the contents of the parchment. Oh, excuse me. Thank you. Caro mio Jacopo. The salutation, written in his native language, translated as follows. My beloved Jacopo. Did the fruits of your dream turn out as you had hoped? I am sure it was wonderful and impressively fast. A train that can travel across a continent as large as this is like something out of a story. I wish I could have been there to see it. I'm sure it would have been quite pleasant, like the day you gave me the Fennekiss wheel. Am I being presumptuous? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought I would keep waiting for you forever, no matter how much you hated or ignored me. But I made up my mind. So, I'm sorry. I decided I would wait for you until the railroad was completed. I foolishly thought that you might invite me to the opening ceremony. But it seems I am not good enough for you. I am going to take my leave of your house. So, you needn't concern yourself with me any longer. However, I do have one request. Please do not forget about all the letters I wrote. Think back on them from time to time. Do not burn them all, for they contain my thoughts, my feelings, my words, a record of my love for you. Remember, when you can, that I was always watching you. I'm sorry. I'm having trouble writing. My ears are ringing. There's a voice whispering to me, calling me a witch. Maybe it's your voice. Vision is blurred. I'm not even sure what is going through my mind. I'm sorry. This was all I was able to write for you. I'm truly sorry. I will leave the Fennekiss wheel behind. It was my dearest treasure. Farewell. I loved you.
What the hell is this?
He was visibly rattled, and unsurprisingly so. The mention of the Transcontinental Railroad's opening ceremony, the letters she had written, her dearest treasure, her profession of love for him, and above all, the mangled text that appeared to have been written by someone not entirely in their right mind. Everything about it served to amplify his befuddlement.
You waited for me? How can that be? The joining ceremony is tomorrow. It hasn't happened yet. Why? Why did you have to leave then? I'm here. I came for you just as I planned. The ceremony is on the 10th.
A second later, Jacopo gasped. The date written on the letter was the date prior, May the 8th. Originally, the ceremony was planned to be held on May the 8th, 1869. However, due to bad weather and a labor dispute, it had been postponed for 2 days.
This can't be. I made sure you were informed. I had Maria.
The madam is having an affair.
Maria. No. You couldn't.
Scattered fragments of memory began coming together in his mind. Maria was the only one who had informed him of his wife's supposed unfaithfulness. And though the letters had not been addressed to him, thinking back on it, they had all been about him. In one letter she had mentioned treasuring a gift. Jacopo had assumed it meant a gift from another man. But in fact, she had been referring to the phenakistoscope sitting atop her desk, still spinning in the wind. At long, long last, he finally made that connection. And at the same time, he realized that the only person who could have altered the letters was someone they both trusted, Maria.
Never. She never, even once, betrayed me. She was not unfaithful at all. She waited unwaveringly for me, and I refused to believe her. I caused her pain again and again.
But his realizations came far too late. The white-haired girl's spirit had broken, and she was no longer at the mansion. Had he caught on to Maria's machinations earlier, things would not have turned out as they had. But he was much too late.
Maria, why? Why would you do this?
Clenching the letter from his wife, Jacopo stormed out of the shed in search of Maria. But she was not in the room assigned to her.
Where are you? Where have you gone? Maria!
Several maids were roused from their slumber by the racket, but no one had the courage to speak up as the master of the house frantically charged through the halls. Eventually, he arrived at his own chamber. He was certain he had closed the door before leaving, but now a sliver of light shone through the gap between it and the frame. From within the room, he thought he could sense someone's presence. When he opened the door, there he saw, comfortably perched upon his own chair, a woman. "I've been waiting, Jacopo." "Nice room you got here. Though I guess that's only natural, you being the man of the house and all. All these fancy furnishings. You do know this stuff's too good for you, right? And then me, I get that barren little maid's room. Drives me up the wall. So hey, Jacopo. Clear the air with your little lady yet?
Maria.
I love that look on your face. I'm guessing you didn't make things better then?
You know good and well that she's not even here anymore.
Well, yeah, but I still want to hear you say it, you know? I want to hear from your own mouth that you couldn't keep a leash on your woman, so you locked her up, drove her mad, broke her down, and then she ran away from you. Go on, say something. Climb back on your high horse and start shouting like you always do.
Why, Maria? Why would you do this?
Why? Why do you think? Because I freaking despise you. I'd been trying to figure out how I wanted to end things, but then they just fell apart on their own. The fates are smiling down upon me, I guess.
Nonsense. She was waiting for me until the day of the joining ceremony. And I was going to see her on that day. You knew the ceremony had been postponed.
That's what you get for putting it all in my hands. For thinking I'm the only one on your side. What, did you think I'd just tell her like a good little maid? Not a chance in hell. I mean, talk about some fantastic news. You both picked the same day, but you've got the dates different. Absolutely perfect.
Maria, is that how you've always felt? How long have you held this grudge against me?
How long? How long? How goddamn dense can you be? Must be nice living in your little fantasy world, Jacopo. And this is the next Carpa Familia? Oh my god, my sides!
So, you've always hated me?
The very least. I've loathed you since the minute we had our reunion. At first, I did try to convince myself you had your reasons. Didn't make it feel any less unfair, though. You had all your money and all your power and everything else you stole from me. And then you go and get hitched to this pretty little lady. Oh, don't try to act like you're the victim here. This is all on you. Do you have any idea how I felt? Oops, sorry. Do you have any idea how I felt? Fallen from grace? Made your goddamn maid? Having to suck up to you? Do you have any idea how infuriating that was? Or did you think I didn't know anything? Did you think I didn't suspect anything? If you did, then you've got your head way up in the clouds.
So, you were motivated by your grudge against my family, the Bizzatis?
Precisely. That's exactly it. Your father wanted so badly to be the... Sorry. Your father wanted so badly to be the Carpa Familia, wanted so badly to be in power, that he murdered my dad and grandpa. They say it was a carriage accident, but the ground was all torn to hell where it happened. You want to tell me what kind of a carriage accident causes it to explode? As soon as my dad and grandpa died, your dad took over as Carpa Familia. The balance of power in the factions began to change. My family, and anyone with ties to the Campanellas, was either exterminated or exiled. The Bersatis took control of the city. My grandpa's Cosca became your Cosca. No one in their right mind would be naive enough to think the Brazzatis didn't have a hand in that. The great Campanella family bitten by their pet dog. Except the dog had rabies. And as a result, in time, that lush, historic land will wither away and die. My dad and Grandpa, buried in that dried up earth, are screaming in their graves even now. You can't prove me wrong, can you, Jacopo? And now first in line to be the next Capa Familia is you, his son. Naturally. Feels pretty good, don't it? Slaughtering my family, leaving us to wallow in the mud. Well, you live here like a frickin' king. Because of what your family did, I don't have a... Still here. Because of what your family did, I don't have a home to go back to anymore. No house, no prestige. I have nothing left. Sorry, I'm okay. And that's goddamn outrageous. The Campanellas are supposed to run that city. But instead, you filthy Brazzati curs are crawling over it like some kind of infestation. I am a legitimate Campanella, but I'm stuck being your goddamn maid. If I hadn't been born a woman, I could have been the next Capa Familia after my dad and grandpa died. But because I'm a woman, there she goes. But because I'm a woman, I couldn't retaliate. I just had to sit on my hands and watch the tragedy unfold. It was absolutely miserable. So, I had to make you suffer as well. Had to make you No, I had to make you twice as miserable as I was.
You had no reason to hate anyone but me. Why did you make her part of this? Did you have some kind of grudge against her too?
Not particularly. Actually rather liked the madam. Sweet, pretty, kind-hearted, timid, and fragile. Trusted every word I said. A splendid little toy.
You thought of her as your toy?
No. Can you really call me out for that? You can't. You have no right. You never cared one bit about anyone else. They're all footstools to you. It's a little too late to find yourself a sense of morality. This whole thing, it could have been avoided if you two just had a single conversation. But instead, the both of you come crawling to me saying, "You're my only ally, Maria." How dense can you be?
Of course, I thought you were my ally. I trusted you, as I'm sure she did too.
Then you should get your oh my gosh, I feel so bad. Then you should get your eyes examined because you can't see a damn thing.
Maria.
Oh my god, it was beautiful. The way you two blindly trusted me, creating your own misunderstandings and causing your own pain. How you could never seem to get on the same page. Watching it all fall apart.
Maria, is that everything? The extent of your grudge? And all you did?
Yep. That's everything. All that's left is for me to kill you. Hold still now. I wouldn't want to miss.
Maria, does our past mean nothing to you? Was that oath just an empty promise? How could it, when you remember so clearly?
Fine. I'll explain it for our little romantic boy. Bad grown-ups will even take advantage of good memories. It's time I finally return this to you, Jacopo. That cartridge you gave me, packed with your disgusting sentimentality. Killing you ain't the end, though. Oh, you Bazzati curs. I'll send every last one of you straight to hell. My revenge has just begun. There she goes.
Even if you had been a man, you wouldn't have been a suitable cup of Ilya. You should have aimed between my eyes, Maria.
Jacopo! Oh, there she goes. Oh. Why? Down she goes. In a panic, I pulled the trigger, and from the barrel, a bullet went flying. Quite literally, right between her eyes. Would anyone ever believe me if I said this wasn't how I wanted things to turn out? The rain just keeps on coming. I wonder if we'll be able to go home today. Hey, Jacopino! Say something, you little wuss.
Be quiet. You're gonna give me a headache.
The lightning's way louder than me. You jumped, Jacopino. You're such a baby.
You jumped too. Stop calling me that.
Don't be scared. Don't cry.
I am not crying. Your eyes are damp too.
I'm not crying. Not at all. Not one bit.
Liar.
There's no end to this rain, is there?
I'm fine if it doesn't stop. There's nothing at home for me.
You don't want to go home? Your parents don't get along, huh?
That's got nothing to do with it.
Liar.
You've got it good. Everyone loves your grandpa. Whenever anyone needs something, they come to him. Now, there's a great man.
Sorry. Still present. Huh? How'd my grandpa become part of this?
Oh. No reason.
Not everyone likes him. He gets just as much hate as love. Grandpa's not really a model citizen. He's mostly just shrewd. Are you jealous?
I'm not. My old man is, though.
Huh. Is he now? Well, your dad's got his good points too, I think. Like... I don't know, he seems like the kind of man who can accomplish big things. Though he seems a lot stricter than my grandpa. Oh, come on. I don't get you. What are you climbing up for?
No reason.
If you don't want to go home, then... how about we go somewhere far away from here?
Oh?
Once it stops raining, let's get out of here. Head up to the capital, find some work. We could make it work, the two of us. Oh, and we'll bring Nero, of course.
If we could, that would be nice. Break free of this city and its outdated traditions. Head somewhere bigger, more forward-thinking. If only it were possible. It's all right, Maria. I know you were just joking. We wouldn't be able to find work anyway. If the two of us ran off, we'd be starving in a month. You'd have to be blind not to see that.
Right.
Let's go home once the rain lets up.
Yeah. Well, once it does. Well, but until then... Oh, I know. Let's sing. Sing even louder than the lightning. Then maybe you'll stop crying, Jacopino.
I am not crying.
Come on. Let's sing.
I'm gonna do you guys the favor of not singing this because I don't know what she's singing. But imagine a very nice and picturesque duet between the two of them. Maria, I may not put it into words, but I trust you understand that I consider you a dear friend. Listen to me, Jacopo. My actions were justified. I did what I did for the betterment of this city, this land. The Campanellas are too conservative. Under their control, this country will atrophy. Progress will continue to lose steam. If we don't push forward, we'll fall farther and farther behind. Before long, you'll be made the next Capa Familia. But until that day, you'll cross over into the new world and establish the Cosca there. Unify us, bolster us, make us strong. I'll handle things back here. I won't let the Campanellas try and strike back. What? You want Maria to... It's dangerous to keep a Campanella so close by. She has to be taken care of. If you insist. But do not let your guard down. Betrayal is a constant companion in this world. I'm giving you my revolver. Keep it on you at all times. Glory everlasting upon our blood, and upon this earth. The best I can give you is a job as my maid. If I show you any more obviously preferential treatment, the Bersatis are liable to step in. Money, power, respect, and enough authority to not take orders from anyone. I thought that if I could obtain all that, I would be able to give you your freedom. And her as well. I wanted to give you both comfortable lives. But none of that got through to either of you. Everything is slipping through my fingers. Her love, my friendship with Maria, both of their smiles.
Master! Master! What was that sound? So much blood. Maria? What happened this time?
You keep getting stuck witnessing the worst things.
What?
Call a doctor. Someone with tight lips. Do not call the police. And don't make a scene. Got it? If so, then go on.
Yes, sir.
Right. Not everything has slipped from my grasp. My money and influence are all that's left.
That is what you wanted, though, is it not? You sought money and power, no?
Aren't you going to go?
Yes, I will. But first, I would like to ask you something. What do you intend to do from here?
What am I gonna do? Exactly the same as before. There is but one thing for me to do.
I see. Will you eventually find solace in your riches? The way I see it, money and power can be your ally, but they can become your enemy in the blink of an eye. If you do not put them into words, your feelings will never make it through to anyone. For unlike money, humans are not measurable by their appearance. He failed to communicate to anyone what he held within his breast. He was chained down by his place in society, his pride, his relationships, and his own heart. And at some point, he found himself in a position where he was no longer able to speak his mind. After enough time, he likely forgot how to be genuine at all. Or perhaps someone like him simply would not, even if they knew how. In any event, there are many things in this world that cannot be communicated without being put into words. How sad that his tale should end without him expressing how he truly felt. How hard it must have been to never clear up his misunderstandings. After Jacopo's confrontation with Maria, the Pacific Railroad was completed as scheduled. Celebratory cheers shook the new world as the last spike was driven into the rails. Jacopo, however, could not even manage a smile listening to the telegraph. And I am sure you can take a guess as to why. The people with whom he wished to share that moment were not there. Shortly following her death, Jacopo held a private funeral for Maria. Then he commenced a search for the white-haired girl. But he did not do so alone. He hired others to help, did everything in his power to find her, tirelessly searching for many, many years. However, he was never able to locate her, and he spent the remainder of his life alone. Money, power, renown, servants. The world around him was always quite lively, but solitude was his only companion. He waited, and he waited, and he waited for the white-haired girl to return. The years crawled by, and with no family or loved ones at his side to care for him in his old age, he died alone. The door before the departed slowly drew shut. He could no longer hear the raucous sounds of the men from within the den. The faint scent of cigarette smoke, however, lingered in the air. Staring vaguely at the closed door, he noticed something was amiss. The maid, who had been holding the departed's hand, was no longer at his side. The departed glanced around, but she was nowhere in sight. Down the corridor stretched only darkness. We're going to call it here, marking the end of our adventure into Door 3. Thank you. It's been a while since I last appeared. I'm sorry if the reading is a bit haggard, but I wanted to appear and show my face a little and try to finish this chapter, which, you know, marks the end of the introduction. This is like the prologue. Several hours later, this is like the end of the prologue. Oh, well, thank you for coming and having a listen. Even if the reading was a bit short, how did you find the story so far? I guess for those of you who have experienced it, were you betrayed by Maria? Were you betrayed by how I played Maria? Oh, sigh. I'm glad if you enjoyed it enough to stick around. Maria is one of my favorite characters. Maria is one of my favorite characters in this story. And she also appears in the follow-up story, which is Requiem for Innocence, and so we get to see her there again. But even just here, I kind of like that she is so wicked. Exactly. I mean, you'd expect to hate her, right? The way that she's been written obviously makes her out to be doing some terrible things. But she is, and it's great. It's kind of great. I hope that my fondness for Maria comes through in the way that I read for her. I genuinely don't. That's right. I support women's wrongs. I just, yeah. She's very true to herself, is something that I can say about her, no matter where she appears and in what story and in what form. Is that Maria is always very just her, you know? And she never tries to be anyone else aside from obviously her manipulation tactics here. I have to admit though, now that we have met Jacopo, I hope you guys have come to understand how pathetic he is. Pathetic, positive. I like him too. I think he is universally, he's like beloved and beloathed by everyone who enjoys this story. For real. Another restless man. Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I can't really say that Jacopo sad though. Sad that we keep meeting meeting restless guys. This part did redeem him. The last part of the chapter. I suppose so. I think the thing is that Jacopo, he never like Maria. He is quite true to himself, but he is just much less forthcoming at expressing who he is as a person. Like not to mind what he desires for his goals for whatever, but as the maid mentioned, Jacopo has no spine as a human being. Like as a businessman, sure, but as a man, had enough risk to get a wife. He paid for the wife. He paid for his wife. And the white-haired girl who has returned to... She still loved him back. If we continue on with the story, you may understand why. Maybe that's a spoiler for me to say, but the white-haired girl is obviously a very mysterious and enigmatic presence, right? We don't even know what her name is. Her name is constantly censored whenever it comes up between the characters. This is for an important reason too, but we only know her as the white-haired girl. We can assume that she's called the same thing in these same 3 chapters. And she keeps coming to the mansion and thinking, oh, I belong here, and then the mansion keeps screwing her over and being like, well, welcome back to hell. So, treating her terribly. Here we have in the first in the first instance of the story is she comes to the mansion as a literal beggar with no other place to go. Her father has just died, and she meets her half-siblings, one of whom falls in love with her, the other of whom cuts off all her hair and throws her out of the house. The mansion is very interesting. The mansion, too, is very important, of course. It is the namesake of the game, after all. I can't say that it doesn't have a role in what is happening, but it's good just to think of it as the creepy place where all these things happen. And then in chapter 2, she is blind. She can't see a thing. And she comes into the mansion and is taken in by this asexual psychopath who, he has a woman that he likes, but he also likes to murder. And so it's kind of hard for those things to exist alongside each other. So he latches onto the white-haired girl and uses her as a way to placate himself while he goes insane. And then she brings him back. And of course she can't really see him being insane, but I don't think she's so foolish as to think he's not doing anyone harm. I mean, especially since he told her, by the way, I killed people. I'm a beast, says he. And then, it's not even him that murders her. It's the villagers. The villagers, in an attempt to lash out at the beast, they kill her in a terrible, terrible way. It's quite horrific. And then now in chapter 3, we see that while she is not subject to the same gory and bloody and torturous physical treatment as she was in the previous story, she is instead subject to incredible mental pressure and has her psyche crushed in by, the one that she loves. The one that she loves, who, threatens her and accuses her of infidelity and then locks her up in a shed. And then has the courage to go up to the shed several months later to be like, I'm sorry, I did wrong. Please come out to see my train. Please come out to see my train. I still love you. So this is where we are in the story. Is we've met the white-haired girl's terrible experiences with men. does kind of seem that way, doesn't it? Can't really underplay the kind of harm that she's been done in these stories. I hope that you guys have enjoyed seeing it. I will do my best to continue reading if you are still interested in following along. Would you still like to see where the story goes? Or shall we put it to rest here? Because, you know, I did say that it was quite lengthy, and as you can tell, something like 12 hours later, me saying, this is kind of like the prologue, is, you know, if that's any kind of indication. Because the purpose of these 3 doors is pretty much that we are getting to meet everyone. Is there a happy chapter? There might be, if you stick around, but there might not be, which I hope won't disappoint you. No, there are many side stories and kind of like little extra tidbits that are provided. Perhaps not with the main game, but with Requiem for Innocence. Thank you for the bun stretch redeem. As you know, I find it an interesting story. And while I think it will continue to be a challenge for me to portray all of the characters as I think they deserve to be portrayed, especially trying to be handsome enough to play all of the men, which I dare say I am not. It's a story that when you get to the end does feel gratifying. Even if you only read this main story, it is a satisfying story to go through. I definitely can't guarantee that I'll be able to get to the end. But since we've gotten this far, it would be nice to keep going, I guess. Would you ever consider a duet reading stream? Okay, I do have a delightful friend with whom I read on her stream before. She was playing Heartful Boyfriend, and I was there playing her boyfriends. Your voice range is incredible. It's very kind. Thank you. The main problem, if I can say this, with reading alone is that I can never stay in character. There is very rarely a moment longer than like maybe 5 minutes where I can stay in character as one character. Which pigeon do you like? I quite like Murderous Dr. Pigeon. I'm very fond of all of them though. Heartful Boyfriend has my heart. I did some early streams with that, but I read with my delightful friend who is very good at voice acting, and also she is much cuter than I. But yeah, I think ideally if I was to find a partner to read Fata Morgana with, it would probably have to be with someone with an expressly masculine voice. I can do masculine, but it's not a man's voice. I think you understand that, right? But that's just like a personal preference. If I were able to stay in character, maybe I wouldn't struggle so much, but maybe at the same time the struggle is part of the fun. Do you guys enjoy the struggle fun? Me having to change personalities every second or two? Wild stuff. Not at all. Cute? Me? I'm cool. I'm cool, Bun. You guys should know that now. Cute is not my forte. Oh, Silent. Oh, also Key. Thank you for Thank you for resubscribing to Bunhell. Welcome back, Silent. Thank you for supporting me for so much. Has it been 2 years already? Has it? It's been longer than that. Wowie! To think that you guys are still here. Yippee! Yeah. It's I complain about it being difficult because it is, and I won't deny it. I won't deny that it's difficult for me to read for everyone in this story. But if it were more feasible for me to do things like use an actual voice changer, maybe I would. I've tried before and it's been a bit, I think it's been a bit shaky. And there are so many different lines that I feel like switching it on and off would just be so fiddly. So I guess that's how we ended up in the scuff reading form that we have at the moment. Wowee. Oh, that's right. I debuted around this time as well. To think that it's been so, yeah, around the end of the year. That is a long time. I feel like you guys are calling me out for being like 3 years old. To think that Bun is already 3? I'm like a toddler. No. 3 years isn't short for like 30,000 years. Eldritch being age. Maybe that's young in the eyes of an eldritch horror. But yes. Before I came on to stream, I was thinking about what the end of the chapter held, and I was wondering. I was actually wondering if it would be boring for you guys, because I know even though there is the dramatic part where Jacopo has to confront Maria and then he shoots her in the face, otherwise there's just a lot of personal lamenting. And I thought, I don't know if people would be down to hear constant griping, like the 5 different personalities of Bun griping together about things. But I guess this was the best that I could do today. So I will do my best to be back soon. Your reading is very immersive. Is it? I'm very grateful. I am always very grateful when people say things that are nice about my reading. In the sense that, oh Bun, I can listen to you read a book. Like, that means a lot to me. No. It is appreciated. I tuck away the comments in a safe place. In my dango here. Safely. So kind. I already know that Bun is not so good, but I like to think that even if I am not so great, that if you guys enjoy it, then I can keep going. Oh, so kind. Thank you. I like stories, and this is a story that I really enjoyed, so I hope that is even remotely conveyed. If you guys have any thoughts, I guess, about Fata Morgana, or these streams in general, because I guess whenever I have time to stream, I think, oh gosh, I should continue reading Fata Morgana. And I haven't dabbled into any other content in a while, even though I guess I consider myself variety aligned. Not exactly a variety streamer, but variety aligned, in that I do multiple things. but I haven't done multiple things since beginning this game, and so, you know, if you're okay continuing on as is, then I will do that. If you'd like to see other things, though, that is also a-okay. I don't know if I'll be able to do more, but no, I am thinking about the Fata Morgana reads, about continuing on the story times. Happy December, all, by the way. It sure is. It sure is December already. Well, thank you for coming either way. Even if I'm just hanging out. Yes to more Fata Morgana? Okay, well, I'll take that as a vote for more woefully tragic gothic reading. I like it. I already said that, but I like it. Thank you, of course. If I did want to stream something else, I certainly will. Actually, what do we have coming next in Fata Morgana? So we've gotten through the Road siblings, and then the Beast, and then Jacopo and his domestic issues. And then I guess we meet someone else without a name. Is that we're gonna do that? And then we're going to go on to another story with the white-haired girl, I think, is probably what is ahead. But, do you have anything you might be interested in starting next? In terms of something to read, I have to admit Fata Morgana is probably the best ongoing series. After Fata Morgana, maybe Fata Morgana Requiem for Innocence if I want to be insane. I don't know if I could read that, but, you know. I have to tell you, Fata Morgana is a long game. It's really long. Like it's not so long that I can't read it and think that it's too long, but when it comes to visual novels, people do consider this to be of decent length. Because it's linear, right? It's not like you have to go after multiple characters. I dare say a lot of games, like in this format, gain their extra time from having to run through the same plot with different characters and romancing them. But there's kind of none of that here. So it's just a single overarching linear plot that we follow to its end. I actually don't know how long it will take. Maybe another like 40 or 50 hours, I would say, could be put into finishing this game, which is nothing to sneer at. So I can't say for sure how long it will take for us to get that far. It would be great if we could finish Fata Morgana, though I fear having a playlist that is like 60 videos long. No one deserves that. I'm sorry that I can't spend a little longer reading. But, you know, getting through bits and pieces, half a chapter each stream, I think is okay as a pace for me. I hope that it's not too difficult to watch if you do go back to the playlist and listen to things through. You know, I do spend like another 20 minutes chatting about my thoughts on the story afterwards. So, oh really? I feel the same. The friend who recommended Fata Morgana to me did so quite a long time ago, and she did so linking me some music from the game, and then she just said, "Go play it. Like go play this game because it's great." And I went and had a look at it, and she also said it was quite long, so I was like, "Oh, I guess it's kind of like a thing I have to set myself up to do." But I'm glad you've enjoyed. I'm glad if anyone has enjoyed watching/listening to my House and Fata Morgana streams. I am aware once again that a lot of the reading in chapter 2, especially some of the more wild passages that I didn't read aloud, you'd have to look at the screen for. But otherwise, I'm hopeful that even if you don't pay too much attention to what's happening on screen, that what is happening can more or less be conveyed through the reading. That'd be nice. Fata Morgana is quite a journey. Silent. Well, if you stick around for even more of the journey, you're going to find out, I guess, one, what it will be like with Bun at the helm. I will find out with you. But two, just what kind of a journey it really is. Wow, that's quite poetic of you. In the raw tapestry of existence, your reading of the tales feels like a visceral narrative of betrayal, love, and death. Look, the house in Fata Morgana is very much a visceral narrative of betrayal, love, and death. And much, much more. But I do think that those are super felt as you go through. Even though the story itself is set up in a very, archaic setting. It's set far, far away from what we know in the present day. Not including, I guess, or kind of including, the 1900s setting that we were getting into with Jacopo. They had technology, but obviously they were still riding carriages, so not quite what we knew, but the closest to present day. And in fact, I think that is probably, explosive carriages. Nods. Well, they had trains, and I like trains. But otherwise, the stories just come from a time period far estranged from ours. But the things that are talked about within the stories, even though I trying not to spoil the exact themes of characters and plots that we will explore as we go through the story, but they feel very personal, despite a lot of the issues being described clearly being dated. Dated is probably the kindest word I can use to describe them. And if you look at the issues that we've been facing so far in these chapters, you've got things like class and poverty, and these things all still exist in the present day, but the way that they are portrayed is fantasy. Old world. But the world is real. If anything, I think religion is a theme to be watched out for within this story. Heavy-handed religion, religious themes, obviously abuse. There's a lot. There's really a lot. When I eye my stream information bar, and there's just that little warning that says this is a mature rated video game that may not be suitable for some viewers, it's that. It's exactly that. A lot of the themes are quite terrible, but it's not something that we can't identify with, sadly. Yes. Well, I guess in the case of Jacopo and his domestic with his wife, we have the book and the encyclopedia thickness meme, where it's the encyclopedia thickness is this chapter, and the the thin book is like what would have happened if Jakob had talked to his wife. It's like the difference between those two. But like that aside, haunting terror nods, very much so. Maria's laugh. Did you like Maria's laugh? Cackles for her. The darkness of the human heart is constant. Is constant. And in every single one of these characters. Like every one of them struggles with the darkness, and then a lot of the issues that they have to face is resulting from the darkness of the human heart. Haunting terror. Thanks for enjoying my cackling laughter. Didn't Mario say something along the lines of not sure if to be excited or anxious? You can be either. I would be grateful if you were either. You enjoy it? Well, I'll take that as a compliment. But I'm pretty sure you won't be hearing my maniacal laughter for a little while. I hope that you will still be able to enjoy my not witch cackle laughs. But I spent enough time in silence. There's no background music at this part. We'll hop away for now. I will try to be back. I will try to be back within the next week. I'll try to be back within the next week, which is a long time, if possible. And I apologize that there have been kind of long stretches between streams at times, and I hope that you won't hesitate to look back. Don't be funny. Don't be funny. I hope you won't hesitate to look back upon the other VODs, which I will do my best to upload. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for chatting about about the house in Fata Morgana. Nodding. Has been a fun time. I'll see you all again soon. Take care. Bye bye.